Bit of an update on the VXR. I had some stuff filmed that I was planning on doing a little update video right after it got sent off to get rebuilt, but I never posted it. I'm currently out on my bike on my day off trying to get to Derwent, Upper Derwent, just something to do. I don't have a car, so bike's the next best way to get places. I'll probably drop the footage that I recorded a few weeks ago of me prepping the car to go to get forged right at the end of this, but I'll leave the update at the start for anyone who's interested, so you don't have to watch the whole thing, because watching that footage back now, like, I was just depressed because my car had blown up and it's not the most interesting. So yeah, as I said at the end of that video, it's getting forged, pec rods, Wassenaar pistons, slightly oversized. I paid extra to get the block wedged as well. There's a Helix 6-paddle clutch that I ordered and had sent to them, and light and flywheel, so that's going to get done at the same time. I've also ordered AN lines to replace the oil cooler hoses for them to fit when the car goes back together. But all of that was 5 weeks ago now. You've already seen I had to take the Mini for a track day instead of the Astra. I've got another one next Friday, by which time it'll have been 6 weeks that I won't have had the car. I was hoping, honestly, to get it back like a week ago or this week at the latest. Do the running in miles as quickly as possible, like drive a couple 100 miles a day, check that the map's alright, and then take it to that track day, which is the Camber and Combustion one at Blyton Park, which I've been waiting to do for a year and a half for various reasons, like missing the tickets and the VXR just not being ready for the one they did last March, I think. But the machine shop they used to wedge the block broken a tool or something, and their machine's going to be down. So at this point, it's out of Rusty's hands. It's all on whoever this machine shop is to get the shit together and finish it, basically. I'll go through the summary of the damage. All 4 rods were bent, all the bearings in the bottom end were badly grooved, crank had been grooved by the bearings because it had been run with no oil pressure, and then all the metal in the oil and the lack of oil pressure has also killed the oil pump, which has added some expense as well. They also found someone had fitted the turbo wrong, so all the turbo studs needed replacing, a couple of other little seals that were leaking. So it's going to be like brand new when I get it back, but when I get it back, by then the season will be over for track days. Donington has pretty much nothing on over December, January. I mean, last year over that time they were resurfacing the track. So yeah, it's a bit of a shit situation really. Like, I'm going to try and enjoy the Blyton Park day as best as I can in the Mini, but like, to be honest, at Snetterton, by halfway through the day I was at the limits of how fast I could drive that car. The VXR, at least, I don't feel limited by the car as much. The Mini was boiling the tyres, if you've seen that video. The brake discs on the Mini are pretty much gone on the rear. I think the handbrake was sticking on over winter. Low temperatures, freezing water in the handbrake cable, so one of the discs is like nearly like through into the vents, so that needs doing this week, so I can take the Mini. But like, I'm absolutely gutted that I can't take my car to any of the track days I booked when it was working. You know, there were 2,000 miles between doing the oil cooler and stuff and it blowing up. So yeah, it's a pretty rubbish situation. Like, I'm still stuck with no car, probably will be for another few weeks yet. Missed 2 track days because of it. Well, I still get to go on them, but like, it's nowhere near as fun if you're not in your own car and you're in something stock. With 190 horsepower is enough, but it's not as crazy as a 300 horsepower VXR with an LSD. So that's where we are at the moment. Yeah, I'll be doing a video of Blyton Park in the Mini, but no one will watch it because it's Mini content and most of my subscribers are here for the VXR stuff. But yeah, I'll see you in the Blyton Park video, I guess, if you bother watching it. So yeah, that pretty much covers it all, the state of things at the moment. I need to sort the brakes on the Mini, ready for this track day, and then hopefully in a month I can make a video with the VXR back and better than ever. But until then, hope you enjoyed the video, like and subscribe and all that stuff, and I'll play the clips from the week that it blew up now. And yeah, see you in the next one. Update on this thing, I'm measuring up with a flexible tape measure for some replacement oil lines, so when the new engine's in, same doesn't happen again. So I've just fed that all the way down through the path. Current ones take, don't know if you can see, down there in the wheel arch, down to the sandwich plate. By the looks of it, with a bit of slack and over measuring rather than under. This one's 110 centimeters, and the other fitting would be 81, something like that, just to give a bit of extra. Looking at the fitting instructions, the what's in the box sort of thing from the AirTech kit, these are 1/2 inch British standard pipe thread, and these are -8 AM lines. I can get 1/2 inch BSP male to -8 male, which just thread into the sandwich plate, and then replacement steel braided lines that are -8 female on both ends. And I'll do the same as this kit. One's a 45, one's a 90. I do 2 90s, there's no reason not to. I couldn't figure out at the time why this is a 45, because it actually kind of presses down into the
the intercooler there. I don't see a reason for it unless it's for like stock cooler with nothing underneath, which wouldn't make sense because the cooler's by AirTech as well. But yeah, so with that measured and the new filter on, which by the way Sprogly messaged me and offered to replace or refund the adapter, which they didn't have to do, but good service. And either I've tightened it up too much or it was a material quality issue. Not a bad product. There's nothing wrong with heat cycling 3D printed parts like a lot of people were commenting on the Facebook post that I put on, which wasn't meant to call Sprogly out in any way. Yeah, it's just unfortunate really, like that part failed. Maybe because I was using the heat shield and raisers up closer to the bonnet and the filter was getting squished by the bonnet slightly, so it's pivoting, twisting here and put some force on it. The clamp wasn't done up very tight. It was like 1 or 2 turns required to get the inside of the ring that was left in here when it snapped off out, so that wasn't the issue. It wasn't a huge issue anyway. It's not like they fail in a way that can take your engine out. They just detach themselves from the car, so that might get sorted. But I have no use for the filter, so there's not much point in it getting replaced unless I give it away, I guess.
Oh, and the other thing is the reason the Jubilee's popped off. If you look on the AirTech fitting instructions, there is a picture of the clamps that they should have come with that weren't in the box. And you know, I asked Courtney, do you remember when we fitted this? And she said, yeah, I remember helping you look for half an hour for those clamps, and we decided they were not there. And you know, I've since been through all the packaging and recycled and binned stuff. Yeah, there was no clamps with anything I ordered from AirTech to go on those barbs. So the ones in the picture are these thick, beefy, like steel Jubilees, and obviously the ones I found from the box, not thinking at the time about sort of how stiff the pipe is and how hard it has to clamp down to get it to stay on the barb. But just like normal, you know, cheapo Jubilees, not Mikolor, not like any fancy brand, no shiny, you know, not shiny like polished thick steel ones. It was just some generic Jubilees that I had lying about. In hindsight, like, yeah, you don't want to delay putting your car together because someone forgot some Jubilees and you've got some lying around, but partially my fault, partially their fault. Live and learn, and in future I'm never putting Jubilees on anything that carries oil pressure ever again because it's just a stupid idea. If you're looking for an oil cooler kit for your VXR, there's a couple of places, I don't remember the name, I could throw them up on screen if I find them, that sell kits that use braided lines and no stupid barb fittings. But at the end of the day, car's going to get fixed. It was going to get forged anyway, so it's not technically cost me anything more than it ever would have. I just didn't want to forge it this month. I wanted to forge it next year. You know, other things like gardens to spend, well, driveways to spend the money on. So yeah, that pretty much sums up where we're at with the car basically. So I'm going to try and clean underneath it and make sure it's not a complete mess when Rusties get it literally covered in oil at the minute. So I'm going to jack one side of it up and snow foam underneath it, maybe show you all a time lapse of that.